是什么形式？大家
讲话就讲就行
讲一讲
啊，讲。它主要是它的智慧校园，这个是针对大学的，然后我先把
we still need one more speaker.
我们在中学里面开展气候先锋尖兵学校，气候尖兵校园。
Hello.
我们已经开始行动了，我们已经行动好几年了。咱们现在不是说这个到了行动的时候了，我们已经提前几年行动了。
Do I need a copy of this?
Yes. No, just a minute. What do you want?
Do I need a copy of whatever you have?
I have it.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. 说吧。Hello. Good afternoon. I would like to welcome all of you for this press conference whose main subject is Smart Campus Cloud Network for taking a rapid action in university campuses for mitigating the climate change. This particular program, which has been initiated in partnership with UNESCO by TERRE Policy Center, is growing very rapidly. Probably it is growing as rapidly as the action needed on climate change. And we have with us today Peter from UNESCO, who is going to chair this conference, along with my colleagues from Operation Earth China, Mr. Leon Chen, as well as the officer in charge of National Council for Strategy on Climate Change of China, Mr. Zhang, and the representative of Yale University, USA, Madame Xingyang. Without wasting much time, I just would like to say that Smart Campus Cloud Network is a network of global universities which works in the campus to make the campus resource efficient as well as SDGs ready and take action on climate change. It brings the students out of the classroom and encourages them to carry out the actual work so that when they graduate, when they go out of the campus, their mind is already prepared for taking action in whatever the field they are going to work in their career. So we are creating a dots of actions in the university campus with an objective that these dots will be connected, and then the whole movement will start in order to get the objective of the Paris Climate Agreement of keeping the temperature well below the 2 degrees centigrade as compared to the industrial temperature. The rise of temperature is to be limited, and we don't have much time. Neither we have a time now for talking much. So I'm going to hand over the mic to our chair, Peter from UNESCO, to initiate this press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajendra. My name is Peter Dogsey. I work as UNESCO's co-chair for our task team on climate change, and UNESCO, that stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. In our strategy, we have a beautiful motto of changing minds, not the climate. In our strategy, we also have youth as a key priority. We are therefore extraordinarily proud and privileged to be with you here at this press conference today with two leading institutions and two leading countries, that is India and China. If China and India can mobilize young people for climate action and for sustainability, for sure that is moving the world towards a path of sustainable development. So we're very grateful for this opportunity to collaborate and work with the TERRE Policy Center and its director, Rajendra Chende, as well as with Leon Chen on Operation Earth. These two gentlemen, distinguished scientists, have a beautiful track record in terms of moving the planet on a path to sustainability through their past work within the Montreal Protocol. That was a true success story of international collaboration to reduce the emission of ozone-depleting gases. Now they are moving on to addressing climate action with young people, and we trust that they will be equally successful there. So with these words of introduction, I give back the floor to Dr. Rajendra Chende.
Thank you very much, Peter. We are extremely privileged to have UNESCO as a knowledge partner, as well as a guiding force to take this movement of the global network of universities, campuses all over the world. And thank you very much for your time, Peter, because I know they are extremely busy in a number of events here, and Peter is in charge of the climate change activities within the UNESCO. I would like to say that we are now, last in a Poland meeting of Katowice, we launched 2 guidelines for the campuses. Our objective is to encourage the students and the faculty in the campus to initiate the activity. And we provide a minimum guidance for the reason that the university youth, university students represent a very powerful potential to carry out the work on themselves. They need only initial catalytic push, and that is in the form of a guidelines. So I have an opportunity first, before giving floors to others, to launch these 2 guidelines, further 2 guidelines. In Poland, we launched the guideline for what is called as a toolkit, how to get going on a job. And the second was how to conserve the water in the campus. And we have launched the competition, who does the better. And the national competition in India has already given the awards a few days back for the best campuses who have done a better work in making their campuses smart. This time we are launching 2 more guidelines. One is the campus landscape framework, and another is campus single-use plastic-free campuses. And I'm requesting all my colleagues on the dais to officially launch it by holding it in their hand, and of course we will have a photo opportunity for doing it. So let me give it to first Peter to announce the launch of it.
So we are hereby very proud on behalf of UNESCO to launch the new guidelines, the SCCN, Single-Use Plastic-Free Campus Guidelines, here at COP25 in Madrid.
This is another one.
And we are equally proud to launch the TERRE Policy Center's Campus Landscape Framework here at COP25 Madrid.
A quick sentences, a quick sort of a brief on these 2 guidelines. The number 1 is the landscape is always, university wants it green. But in a climate change context, we want that landscape to be energy efficient, water efficient, and the best waste management campus. And this is what is indicated here. You can see that it is pretty thin. The reason is we want the talk and the script to be shorter and the action to be bigger. And the youth have that potential of keeping the talk and the script minimum and take a bigger action campus-wide. The another guideline, and this is very important in terms of the single-use plastic ban, which UNESCO has also taken it on a big scale worldwide, along with United Nations Environment Program, is about single-use plastic-free campus. Again, these are only the big actions which are required with a thin script. It has been prefaced by Eric Solem, who was Under Secretary General of United Nations and the Executive Director of UNEP, and the most important key personality behind the ban of single-use plastic all over the globe. And this movement is catching up, and the campuses are taking already a big leap, and we feel that this would continue worldwide. With this introduction, some of the copies are there, few copies are here for you to take it up at the end of this event. I'm going to hand it over now, the mic to my friend Leon Shen, to talk about a smart campus and the offshoots of this smart campus movement in China.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the environmental friends on one planet, and then dear journalists. I am Liang Chen, the founder and chief science officer of Operation Earth, China's first international field research volunteer organization. In past 8 years, we mobilize young people to go to different fields to monitor the biological dynamic change under the big background of climate change. And we go to Amazon rainforest and in Peruvian Amazon for 28 different expeditions, help local scientists to collect field data and indicative species of biodiversity and to evaluate the impact of climate change. And this field data will set up a scientific basis for better conservation plan and a responsive plan to the climate change. And we experienced through our data collection in past few years, Amazon rainforest got greatest impacts due to climate change. And the flooded forest during the high water season is almost flooded. So the all wildlife, terrestrial wildlife got disaster, and almost 6 million population of different mammals were killed by climate change. Such impact is more than any human activities. And we also have saving Eastern Africa black rhinos in past 8 years, and in Kenya, and a black rhino in Old Pajat Conservancy. When we worked there, at the very beginning, the population is only 86 individuals of black rhinos, but now increased to 133 individuals. The population grows around 50%. And Operation Earth is very proudly that we are the only financial supporter for these research programs. And we also mobilize teenagers to go to the wilderness training and reintroduction of giant panda and Privasky horses along the Silk Road, as well as Tonle Sap wetlands ecosystems in Mekong, in Cambodia. And we also have another 16 different field research projects. We mobilize young people to go there worldwide. But with the Smart Campus Cloud Network program and developed by their policy center, we feel that this program is only focused on universities and colleges. But we want to focus on the teenagers, on high schools and middle schools. We mobilize students to go to different fields to monitor ecosystems and climate change. But now we want to also mobilize the students back to their schools to carry out the Climate Pioneer School Partnership Program in China, which is already launched in January 24th with the support by National strategic research center to respond to climate change in China, as well as the National Administration for Forest and Grassland, and with technical support by their policy center from India. And now I'm very happy and pleased that we have different new two guidelines announced today, which will be translated into Chinese and applied to our climate pioneer schools in China. And with this backdrop, we could see the time for action. Operation Earth already lead students and then guide students go to field for past 8 years. Up until now, we already have more than 5,000 field research volunteers from different schools in China to the field research site, and we contribute $3.5 million in donation to the different research projects. So we take action for several years, and we want to take more actions within the school for carbon neutral schools as the climate pioneer schools in China. I want to express based on our experiences, science in action, teenager matters in combat with climate crisis. Teenager matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon. I think that is an offshoot of Smart Campus Cloud Network, which is confined to the universities, and now it is taking roots in the schools. And I think this movement is going to spread. We are all talking about making this world carbon neutral, and we strongly believe that it should start from bottom up. Let the schools and let the university campuses become carbon neutral, and then we connect these dots to make a global movement of it. I give the floor to Mr. Zhang, who is also, he comes from the China government National Council for Climate Change Strategy. And that strategy has only one word, which is action. And Mr. Zhang is going to talk about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good afternoon. I come from China, National Center for Climate Change Strategy and International Cooperation based in Beijing. Just like Sandy and Liang Zhong said, the kid and the students is the future of our world. So I think it's very important to do something for them. And it's my honor to come here to say something about them. Actually, in China, in 1912, the State Council had decided a festival for the climate change, the Low Carbon Day. And in 2013, we launched the first Low Carbon Day. This program including the awareness about the kids and the students. We make an exhibition about kids' draw and invite some of the little kids to Beijing from all over the world, all over the country, from different provinces. I see the smile in the kids. Some of the kids never to Beijing and never see so lot of people. Yes. From every year we host kids' draw with other NGOs. Yes. In 1940, we go to the Guizhou province. Some students never go out of their little country. We donate some of the book to the students and told them what is the climate change, what we should do. I think they may understand what I say. And some of the institutes in China had to make the material about climate change for the young teenagers, and make some of the film or the recorder for the young people. In Tsinghua University, the students can make the lesson about the climate change. Mr. Xie, the special, is our leader. He's China special
Ambassador on climate.
for the special work for the climate change. Yes, in Tsinghua, and the students in Tsinghua can hear the climate change in the world and in China. And the people and the young people from other universities come to Tsinghua, listen to him. What the climate change will do and the other countries will do, and what China's attitude to the climate change. Yes. So in China, maybe some people couldn't understand what the climate change would mean. But I think in the future, more and more people will understand it and take part in or participate in it. I think India and China in the common interest in the climate change. So I hope in the future we can do a lot of things in this field. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. I think that is a pretty ambitious India and China joining together with action on climate change. And I'm sure Peter must be very happy to see that kind of a change from the United Nations angle. We have just about 10 minutes left, and I'm going to request Chang Yang from the Yale University to have the intervention in about 2-3 minutes. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Shende, for inviting me to be here as an ambassador for Smart Campus Cloud Network. My name is Qingyang Liu. I'm a master's student at Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies. We are all here because we know that time is running out for climate change. Time is also running out for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are now embraced globally by all countries. Launched at the beginning of 2016, they are to be achieved by 2030. We now have slightly more than 10 years to do so. Fortunately, we have with us a treasure of lessons learned while implementing Millennium Development Goals, precursors to SDGs, that began its implementation in 2000 and were to be achieved by 2015. One of the lessons was that MDGs were never mainstreamed in the education systems in schools. As a consequence, the key group of drivers of change who are future policymakers and innovation sources are remained isolated from the global efforts. Smart Campus Cloud Network brings that critical group of students and faculties in the main flow. It facilitates universities to mainstream the future policymakers in implementing SDGs. It's time for action. This is the slogan for COP25. While we cannot change the system for fossil fuel immediately, we can empower students and faculties in schools to take transformative actions. SCCN is a platform for doing so. We learn cloud networking, machine learning, and blockchain for assessing and monitoring the consumption of energy and water on campus and catalyze effective waste management, sustainable transport, air pollution, and natural resources conservation within the campus. As a writer for Environmental Performance Index, published by Yale Center for Environmental Law and Policy, I constantly rank countries based on environmental performance across the world. I am amazed by the power of healthy competition among peers. When given the platform, countries vie to rise to the top of their peer groups. SCCN provides exactly the same platform for non-governmental actors, schools, to compete among peer groups. While Yale University has committed to sustainable planning and actions that forge new pathways, I see Yale's lack of ambition in comparison with other schools. For example, my alma mater, the University of British Columbia. For instance, in 2005, Yale committed to a greenhouse gas emission reduction goal of 43% below 2005 level by 2020. On the other hand, UBC has already committed to a zero emission target by 2050. In this case, if we can unite university leaders and academic pioneers in the field of climate change, we can equip students of the capacity to supervise campuses' operation, to make smart decisions, and improve operational efficiencies. On November 25, 2019, a group of Harvard and Yale students were arrested to protest Yale and Harvard continued funding fossil fuel giants. While universities worldwide are waking up to the threat of climate change, we need to build more capacity for students worldwide to identify actions that are jeopardizing our sustainable future. We need SCCN, a platform for equitable measurement and communication. We need to stand with the rest of students globally for a more just and stable future. It's time for action. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Cheng-Yan. Quite a contrast you see. The youth protesting on the street, and here we talk about action. Of course, the protesting can bring the attention of the people, but the action can really solve the problem and not just get the attention. So I'm happy that British Columbia of Canada, Yale University of USA are also in line to start the action under the Smart Campus Cloud Network. So thank you very much. We already have 73 university campuses, and this brochure is on a table which you can take it, which talks about quick brief on Smart Campus. With this, I hand over to Peter to conclude the session.
Thank you very much. Obviously, what we heard today is very inspiring, and it fits very well within the work program on action for climate empowerment. UNESCO is very keen to see climate education being introduced in schools and school curricula, and we do that within the framework of education for sustainable development. UNESCO have a broad network of associated schools, more than 12,000 around the world, that are promoting climate change education. Youth, as you said, needs to be mobilized for action, and here we've had fantastic examples for how that could be done and scaled up. Having two leading nations, India and China, doing that is absolutely fantastic. On UNESCO's side, we will launch a Youth UNESCO Climate Action Network, UCAN, later here at COP25, that will also be associated with these great initiatives we heard about today. If we would have 1 minute, could we have, if there would be a question from the floor, then we have 1 minute, we can do that.
Yeah. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I'm happy to be here again. I think I've been following the India-China relationship yesterday, and I'm here today again so that Liberia can be part of that partnership. Anyway, I cherish this because in Liberia, I'm also teaching waste management in the university, and I think it's one of the areas that we can use, especially the plastic solution. In fact, when I'm teaching, I tell them, you can be small, but you can be big. If you have a plastic bottle that has water, drink the water today, go home, refill the bottle, bring it back the next day, and they will say, oh, you are very rich. You are drinking, but you are drinking just one bottle. You are using only one bottle. So those are simple things. For the Yale, I also will be an ambassador, and I will get your contact so that when I get back, because we want for the youth to take action other than to stop protesting. Because some protests are very destructive, but when you take action in the universities, then I think you will grow as a very, reputable person, and you will sit here instead of being on the streets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other? Yeah, you have a question. Just a minute. Yeah. The last question. Yeah, please.
Don't push it, don't push it.
Yes, thank you very much for your good presentation, and it's a lot of good news today because you have launched this initiative. I'm from France, and I'm responsible at the Association of Cities with Universities, and with the group of head of universities in France, and we are also working along this side, and it's very, very important what you have proposed. I may just insist on one thing, because based on our experience, we must have baseline and calculate the changes in greenhouse gas emissions to help students to make the changes, the right changes, and to have priorities. So thank you very much for all what you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to all.